Good evening, and welcome to another degenerate version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your derelict and decrepit host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Okay, my light bulb went out, so I had to put another one in there, so there's a little mellower ambiance in my room. But that's beside the point. I figured I'd do another diatribe because time is growing nigh, and there's not much time left to pontificate on our coming demise. So, what's been happening? I haven't done a diatribe in a while, so I'll catch you up on my microcosm. I had some work done on my house because the plumbing was not good, and I have allowed things to degenerate. And so I spent a good sum of money to have things fixed, and I thought everything would be fine. And it's like trying to rebuild a house as it's burning down. As they fix things, they find more things wrong, and it's becoming a bit of a nightmare, but I'll work through it. Basically, I spent $19,000 to not have any water, but we'll leave that aside because that'll be fixed. Yeah, it's hard to maintain any kind of a domicile, no matter how humble. And I blame myself mostly, so I'm not going to go into litigation right away because I know that I didn't do much with the house and things kind of degenerate. And then when you have to fix them, you find more problems. Okay. So I've talked to some people about selling the house, and I think I might try to get out from under this and call it a day. But yeah, the microcosm is kind of falling apart in a way, and that it will be a reflection of the macrocosm, which is definitely falling apart now. I've been looking at the news, as we all have, and we all know that things are going bad. I don't care if the Dow Jones is up to 50,000. That's good for people who are invested, and that's fine. But, I mean, I was doing a little bit of cursory research, and it seems like we passed without anybody even mentioning it, because it's not worth it anymore to say that in early February we surpassed $38 trillion in national debt. That's not to mention the personal debt and all the other debts and all the money we've wasted, and we won't go into that. But a few people, things I see on YouTube is like 38 trillion. Okay, let me explain something. 38 trillion seconds, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4. To count to 38 trillion, it would take you 1,204,147 years to count to 38 trillion. If you spent $1 per second, starting now, it would take you 1.2 million years to pay the sum of 38 trillion. Now, we know that's untenable. We know that's a sum that cannot possibly be paid. And the only way to pay it is to keep printing money and keep doing like Wile E. Coyote and running over the cliff and not falling until he looks down. But we all know that, and we all know the end is coming economically. It's a foregone conclusion. And anybody with half a brain can see it. Now, I know there's economists that are all rosy about, we're making 5% in GDP, the growth, and everything, inflation will get us out of debt. Okay, forget it. The common clay knows that it's very hard to live, and it's just obvious. Everything's going higher, and I feel sorry for the younger people because I at least am old enough to get a few bennies that I've worked for and don't have to worry about paying, $1,200 a month for health insurance for my family or whatever. I don't know how that can possibly be done. But that's just an economic observation by me that I've been espousing this for years. Nobody listens to me. I told you this was all coming, and nobody listened. And now they're all getting on TikTok and YouTube and X and Y and Z and whining about how it's impossible to live. And I am just plodding along my merry way with my plumbing problems. And I still go to the grocery store and I buy my rice and I buy my chili. And I buy my Marie Callender's little dinners, whatever. So I'm not worried about myself, but let's go on. I'm going to just be talking about a bunch of different things today because I haven't done a diatribe in a while and I've had a lot of things rolling through my head. Okay. Kidnapping, 2 weeks. An old lady has been gone for 2 weeks. And I've said it was a distraction, but I'm not saying it's a distraction for the common clay. The common clay is distracted enough. And it doesn't matter if they're distracted from one thing or another. It's a distraction from the media, who are laser focused on this kidnapping because it's a mystery and who knows, and they've done this and SWAT goes here and SWAT goes there and nobody's gotten anywhere. Well, I'll tell you right now, from my vantage point, from what I've seen, it's somehow an inside job, and I don't know what that means. It could be a family member, it could be somebody who worked in the place, it could be an opportunist who was around, but it's an inside job. And I don't hold out much hope for the survival of an 84-year-old woman who has health problems, who's been missing for 2 weeks. And I hate to say that, but since nobody listens to me, I can say it. But the fact of the matter is, there was somebody in her house that stayed there for over 30 minutes. So there was no urgency to get anything done. So we know there's an inside job. Okay, now what is a distraction? It's a distraction for the media. The media can be looking at this 24/7 and not looking at the Epstein files, or not looking at China, or not looking at Iran, or not looking at Greenland. Who cares? Whatever they're not looking at, they're looking at this kidnapping. Okay. Now let's go to TDS and how everything's falling apart for those people who seem to have mental aberrations where they are so hateful of a certain person because of past lifetimes that they will do anything, including destroy everything, every vestige left of this country, in order to discredit Orangey. So, the D's say we need to have full transparency on these Epstein files. Because we know Orangey was there, and we know he was doing nefarious things. We know he went to a party with Epstein, and we know he took a couple of photos with him, and he is the worst person that ever walked the planet. So they release files. And what happens with their TDS? It all goes back, and now we're realizing, once and for all, and it's so totally ridiculous, that these Q people, QAnons or whatever the hell, were on to something long time ago when they talked about Pizzagate, and they talked about people in high office, the elitists, doing horrible things. And I won't go into that because we can all go into that. And I would say, if you want to spend 3 hours well spent, follow the Cabal on YouTube and realize that the first half-white president and his entourage and everybody who followed after him and going before him, people from Arkansas, were doing things that for any person of the common clay would be jailed for lifetimes. I'm not going to say what they did, and I'm not going to say they actually did certain things, but there is obviously coming to the fore and coming out into the common knowledge that these elitists are doing things, and we've lived in a world that we had no idea we were living in. We just go along our merry way trying to work, trying to pay our bills. And meanwhile, very, very rich people are doing very, very, very bad things. And you do your own damn research, because I'm not going to say it out loud. It's disgusting. And it's beyond disgusting. It's satanic. So people better get it together, because 38 trillion, we're not going to last much longer. I don't give us till April. And that's why I'm very positive and very happy, because I don't have a thing to worry about. I don't care how much my plumbing bill is. That's not going to matter one bit, because nobody's going to pay anything in a couple of months, because everything's going to be falling apart. And you watch what happens. Nobody's going to pay their bills. I've been living without water for 3 or 4 days. I've been living like there's an EMP and just learning exactly how much water is important. And I've had water in my room stored away for an emergency, and suddenly I have no water, and I realize how much that goes by. Even for one person, I use a 2-quart thing of water in a day just to shave, and I have to put the water in a container and put it in the microwave to heat it up, and then I have another container of fresh water so I can put my razor in, and then I got to brush my teeth. Come on. I'm living like the damn pioneers back in 1602 when they first plopped their, behinds on Plymouth Rock. I gotta put water, and I don't flush my toilet unless I have to, and if I have to do anything that involves flushing the toilet, I go to Maverick. So I'm just giving myself a taste of what it's like to live without things. And I still have electricity, I still have my computer, I still have my piano, I still have my books, I still have everything, but I don't have any running water. And believe me, no running water is no fun. I can't do my wash, I can't take a shower. And I got to think about how I'm going to do those things. And I'm enjoying it because I know everybody else is going to be in the same boat and they're going to have a cow. They're going to lose it. But I'm actually more positive than I've ever been. I came to the conclusion that, I hate my job. I mean, this job is a chaotic mess. It's a ridiculous restaurant that is an absolute, shit show. And I'm like, I'm just going to try to do my best here and enjoy it. And I have good times with people, and I'm enjoying myself. I watch my coworkers, and they're, people are so horrible. I'm not getting any money. People are awful. And I just chant for a good day, and I have good times with people. I mean, I look at the table, oh God, I got a party of 8 with 4 kids. And they turn out to be great people, and I have a great time with them. So I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to be positive at work. I appreciate being able to work. I'm making money. My tax return just came in. I'm caught up with my bills. I don't have any running water. And life is beautiful. So I'm going to leave you with that. Something to think about. An existential idea of how you can really actually be happy even though you don't have any running water. So I covered a few things. I wanted to cover more, but I mean, the government's shutting down, and when you watch the hearings and stuff, they're actually going tooth and nail at each other's throat, acting like worse than bullies on the playground. They have no aplomb, no finesse, no sophistication. These politicians are all degenerating into just reptilian monsters. And the D's, of course, are satanic fiends, and they should all be eradicated as quickly as possible, because they cheat and lie and steal, and they don't want any kind of fairness in the voting. And so they'll shut down the government because we cannot have voter ID, because people of color do not have the wherewithal to get IDs. And women who do not change their ID when they get married are going to be disenfranchised. So these D's, forget them. If it was up to me, they'd all be buried alive. But that's that. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to get too much into the hyperbola and what I'd really like to see happen, which is like the night of the long knives. Okay, goodbye.